Breakfast sounds from the kitchen carry down the hall to my room, the chime announcing the arrival of the food delivery sliding through its slot. A crash, Bram knocking something over, chairs scrape, voices murmur as my mother and father talk with Bram. Soon the smell of food comes in underneath my door, or maybe it drips through the thin walls of our house, permeating everything. The smell is a familiar one, a smell of vitamins and something metallic, perhaps the foilware. "Cassia," my mother says outside my door, "you're late for breakfast." I know, I want to be late to breakfast. I don't want to see my father today. I don't want to talk about what happened yesterday. But I don't want to not talk about it either. To sit at a table with our proportions of food and pretend that grandfather isn't gone for good. "I'm coming," I say, and I pull myself out of bed, out to the hall, and I hear an announcement on the porch. I think I catch the word hiking. When I walk to the kitchen, my father has already left for work. Bram pulls his rain gear, grinding wildly. How can he forget about last night so quickly? "It's supposed to be rain today," he informs. "No hiking for you. They said so on the porch." My mother gives Bram his hat, and he jams it onto his head. "Goodbye," he says, and he heads for the air train. Early for once because he likes the rain. "So," my mother says, "it looks like you'll have a little free time. What do you think you'll do?" I know immediately. Most of the other hikers will use this time to hang out in the common areas inside the school, or finishing assignments in the school's research library. I have something else in mind. A visit to a different library. I think I might go visit Papa. Miller's eyes soften. She smiles. "I'm sure he'd like that. Since you missed him this morning, he won't be able to stop work long, though." I know, I just wanted to say hello. It destroys something dangerous, something that's not supposed to have, something more likely to be found at an old library than anywhere else. If they truly do record the passion of everything burned in the incinerator tubes. I pick up one of the dry triangles of toast, tuck it into my foilware, thinking of the way the two poems look on the paper. I remember many of the words, not all of them, and I want all of them. Every last one. It's there any way I can sneak one more glance before I destroy the paper. Is there any way to make the words last? If only we still knew how to write instead of just type things into our scribes. Then I could write them down again someday. Then I might be able to have them when I'm old. Looking out the window, I watch Bram waiting for the air train to stop. It's not raining yet, but he jumps up and down on the metal steps of the platform. I smile to myself and hope no one tells him to stop because I know exactly what he's doing. In abundance of real thunder, he's making his own. Kai is the only one walking towards the air train platform when I go outside. The train to second school has left, and this one goes into the city. He must have a report to work on when his leisure activities get cancelled. No free hours or two for him. Watching Kai walk, his shoulders straight, his head up, he strikes me as lonely as he must be. He spent so long blending into the crowd that now they've separated him out again. Kai hears me coming up behind him and he turns around. "Cassia," he says, sounding surprised. "Did you miss your train?" "No." I stop a few feet away and give him his space as if he wants it. "I'm making this one. I'm going to visit my father, since hiking was cancelled." Kai lives in our borough, so of course he knows the official visited us last night. He won't say anything, though no one will. It's not their business unless the society says it is. I take another step towards the air train stop, towards Kai. I expect him to move, to start up the stairs to the platform, but he doesn't. In fact, he takes a step closer to me. Hills of the atrium, rise in the distance behind him, and I wonder if we will ever hike there. The thunderstorm is still a few miles away, rolls and rumbles gray and heavy across the sky. Kai looks up. "Rain?" he says, almost under his breath. And then he looks back at me. "Are you going to his office in the city?" "No, I'm going past that. He's working on a site out on the edge of the boardwalkway borough." "Can you make it out there and back in time for school?" "I think so. I've done it before when he was working out that way." Against the clouds, Kai seems lighter, reflecting the gray around them, and I have an unsettling thought. Perhaps his eyes have no color. They reflect what he wears, or the officials tell him to be. When he wore brown, his eyes looked brown. Now he wears blue, they look blue. "What are you thinking about?" he asked me. I tell him the truth. "The color of your eyes." My answer catches Kai off guard, but after a second he smiles. I love his smile. In it, I see a hint of a boy that was there the day at the pool. Were his eyes blue then? I can't remember. I wish I looked more closely. "What are you thinking about?" I asked. I expect the shutter to close in, as they always do. Kai will give me some expected answer like, "I was thinking about what I need to do at work today, or the activities for free rec on Saturday night." But he doesn't. "Home," he says simply. Still looking at me, the two of us hold each other's gazes for a long time. Unembarrassed moments, I feel that Kai knows. I'm not sure what he knows, whether he knows me or just something about me. Kai says nothing more. He looks at me with those changeable eyes, those eyes that I thought were the color of earth, but instead are the color of sky, and I look back. I think we've done more seeing the last 2 days than in all the years we've known each other. A female announcer voice cuts through the silence. "Air train approaching." Neither of us speak as we hurry up the metal steps to the platform together, racing the clouds in the distance. For now, we win. Reaching the top of the air train slides to a stop in front of us. Together we climb on, joining groups of others in dark blue plainclothes, and a few officials here and there. There aren't two seats together. I find the seat first, and Kai sits across from me. He leans forward, resting his elbows on his knees. Someone, another worker, calls out a greeting to him, and Kai calls back. The train is crowded and people pass between us. But I can watch him now and then, in the gasps, they leave. And that strikes me is that it might be part of the reason I'm going to see my father today. Not just destroying the paper, but to ride the train with Kai. We reached his stop first. He climbs off without looking back. From the raised air train platform, the rubble of the old library appears to be covered in enormous black spiders. Then, the huge black incinerators spread their leg-like tubes across the bricks and over the edge into the basement of the library. The rest of the building has all been torn away. I climb down the stairs and walk towards the library. I'm out of place at this worksite, but not forbidden. Still, it would be better if no one saw me yet. I edge close enough to see down into the hole. The workers, most dressed in blue plainclothes, stuck up piles of paper with the incinerator tubes. My father told me that right when they thought they had gone through everything, they found sealed boxes of books buried down in the basement, almost as though someone tried to hide and preserve books against the future. My father and the other restoration specialists have been through these boxes and haven't found anything special, so they will incinerate it all. One figure wears white, an official, my father. All workers have protective helmets, so they can see his face, but the confidence is back in his walk. He moves purposely in his element, giving directions and pointing out where he wants the tubes to go next. Sometimes I forgot that my father is an official. I rarely see him on duty in his uniform. When he changes into at work, the sight of him in his uniform simultaneously comforts me. They didn't take away his ranking after last night, at least not yet, and sets me on edge. It is strange to see people in different ways. Another thought crossed my mind. Before he turned 70 and was required to quit work, grandfather was an official. But it's different with Papa and grandfather. I tell myself, neither of them are or were high-level officials in places like the match department or the safety department. Those are the ones that do most of the official type things, like implementing rules. We're thinkers, not enforcers, learners, not doers. Most of the time, my great-grandmother, an official herself, did steal that poem. My father glances once at the sky, aware of the impending thunderstorm. Speed is important, but they have to be methodical. We can't just set things on fire, he told me. The tubes are like the incineration device at home. They record the amount and type of matter destroyed. There are a few piles of books left, and as I watch the workers move from one to another, following his orders, it's fast to incinerate individual pages instead of books. So they slice the book open, cutting them along the spine, preparing them for the tubes. My father looks at the sky again and gestures in a hurry-up motion to the other workers. I need to get back to school, but I keep watching.